Good morning, evening, or night, everyone. Welcome to, or back to, the In Touch Project, the series where we take a deep dive into the slang we as Gen Z use. My name is Glitchbug, the Terraformer, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, Alter Hunter.
Hello everyone, I'm Alter Hunter, the Astral God Slayer of Existence, and here we have a lot to discuss this time around. But before we do that, let's go over the rules.
Ever since the last episode, I felt like the rules needed to be far more grounded and reliable.
So with our combined effort, we've managed to create something that is both reliable and extendable.
Rule 1. New words, phrases, and actions alongside new interpretations for already existing words, phrases, and actions shall be discussed. To accommodate for online media, we will be discussing emoji usage and acronyms. Alongside this, we plan on delving into the history of slang. Rule 2. If multiple slang terms yield the same meaning, they shall be discussed as one. Afterwards, each of the terms shall be granted their own section. Rule 3. Explicit or NSFW terms are generally prohibited from discussion. An exception may occur if a slang term, though capable of explicit interpretation, is not primarily or exclusively used as such due to alternate definitions or interpretations. Rule 4. Slang terms are to be looked at in as much of a neutral manner as possible. Rule 5. These rules are subject to modification to accommodate for any future alterations. However, before we begin, there is something important we need to go over. After much consideration, we have decided that this will be the last episode of the In Touch Project. While this may be the end of this, there are future projects already in the beginning of development. So, let's do ourselves a favor and look forward to those. If you want more information on these future projects of mine, consider joining my Discord server. The link will be in the description alongside the links to our co-hosts' socials. And with that, let's begin. The first slang we have for you, our dear audience, is a prominently known one, low-key. Unlike its converse, high-key, low-key refers to something that is done subtly, secretly, modestly, or quietly.
Low-key can be summarized as covert. USA Today did mention high-key. The antonym, if low-key is covert, then high-key means over the top. Think of it as comparing a jammer to a distress signal or a beacon.
Low-key yields from a more literal interpretation, musical origins. This is in reference to lower notes. It's as if comparing F5 to F3, or for our non-musicians out there, I'm comparing the F on the treble clef to the F 2 octaves lower, or 16 steps lower. Okay.
An example that can be found online goes as follows. We can find low key of a low pitch in the early 19th century. Charles Dickens, for example, wrote of it that way in his 1844 novel Martin Chuzzlewit. She continued to startle at Mr. Chuffley with sharp looks of hostility and defy him with many other ironical remarks. Uttered that low key which commonly denotes suppressed indignation.
Our next slang term is bae. Bae is stated to be often used as a means of addressing your spouse, whether it be boyfriend or girlfriend. Uniquely, it's an acronym standing for before anyone else.
Slang.net states that bae is often used as shorthand form of babe in sense of a partner. It is also used when people find it difficult to pronounce the second B in babe.
Bae became widespread back in 2013 or 2014 through the mediums of social media, hip-hop, and rhythm and blues lyrics.
Shall we get some swagger souls into this swag term?
Nice transition, Alter. Swag is a term that derives from the multi-century old term swagger. Starting in the 18th century, swag was a term that was initially used for goods acquired by illegal means. The term swag bag also comes from this point in time, as it was a common means of containing stolen items whilst moving. Although swag did shift meaning later on.
Sometime in the 20th century, swag bag was used for tote bags, which in today's terms refers to a bag containing items given away for promotional purposes or events. The modern day interpretation of swag is much different, however. These days, swag is used as a means of showcasing oneself, confidence in which... Alright. The modern day interpretation of swag is much different, however. These days, swag is used as a means of showcasing one's self-confidence, which appears primarily in the African American culture and has shown up in print in the early 2000s.
Swag has always been a term with an ever-changing meaning. It even has verbal use that dates back to the 16th century, so it's very difficult to pinpoint an exact meaning. We could go into detail, but it would be very confusing, and it would take all day. Though it is interesting to see a term evolve with the times like this.
Swag is a constantly shifting term, both gaining and losing meanings over the course of literal centuries. So it wouldn't be too out of the question to say that it might have lived on for a century more. Some say that it's a representation of the story of English.
Very well said, Alter. Very well said. Alright, the next slang term we have to discuss is drip. Drip is a reference to one's attire. It means that you have a very cool outfit. Drip can also be tied to swag or swagger, since the two do overlap. Much like how you can say you have the drip, you can also say you have the swag. It can also be used as an adjective in the form of drippy. On top of that, it can be used as a verb with an example sentence being, "We out here drippin'."
Drip is used as a reference to expensive clothing or accessories, such as jewelry, designer clothing, or having a lot of confidence. It wouldn't be out of the question to say the slang term derives from the more literal meaning. Normally, when you think of drip, you think of loud drops falling from an elevated point or dripping. The term was popularized by the famous rapper Cardi B in her 2018 song Drip, featuring Mingos.
Drip has an unclear origin. Some people say the slang term originated from the 2000s Atlanta rap scene, while others argue that it came from the early 2010s New Jersey slang. Finesse is the noun of manipulation. With the assistance of a Quorobot, we have a basic overview. Finesse is a slang term that is often used to describe using skill, artfulness, or cleverness to handle a situation or to achieve a desired outcome. It can also refer to doing something in a smooth, skillful, and impressive way. For example, someone might say she finessed her way out of that tricky situation, to mean that she used her skills or cleverness to handle the situation effectively.
Honestly, I'd like to add one more thing to your sentence. Instead of she finessed her way out of that tricky situation, instead say, they finessed the lock pick to unlocking the lock.
Finesse is more of a manipulation thing. It's not like that would be a skillfully unlocked thing.
In summary, finesse is all about your using your charismatic abilities and manipulative tactics in order to achieve one's way.
Finesse appears to originate as a means of describing material quality. It has history in Middle English as a degree of excellence, of metal, fineness, or purity.
Finesse is a French term translating to fineness, which is used to describe the quality of metal. In French, it is used as a noun in the phrase la finesse, describing the fineness, delicacy, sharpness, thinness, acuteness, and keenness of a blade. Well then, let's sip some tea. Sip tea is often used as a means of minding one's own business. It is used for people who enjoy eavesdropping on conversations that they themselves do not directly partake in. Sip tea derives from the phrase sip till the tea, as in the capital T, where the capital T stands for truth, which originates from the drag queen lady Charbalis in her 1994 book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Let's talk about e-boys and e-girls. E-boys and e-girls are a subculture of Gen Z originating in the late 2010s, which has been popularized by TikTok. It's a sort of evolution of all sorts of style trends, new and old, such as emo and Korean street fashion.
In summary of Rebecca Jennings' article, E-Girls and E-Boys explained, we get quite a lot of information on the subculture demographic.
If we are to jump back in time to the 20th century, we lay witness to Dick Hebdage's influential book on fashion, Subculture, The Meaning of Style, where Hebdage does a study on the punks, mods, and teddy boys who once hung around London during the 60s and 70s. These funny haircuts and jarring clothing was a means of political rebellion. This form of attire was used by the young white working class as a means of exaggerating the neatness aspect that we tend to associate with the higher class these days, adopting a means of showcasing social neglect. Notably, the styles of e-girls and e-boys, though different, are stated to transcend gender. This is pretty vague, but it might imply that a female can become an e-boy and vice versa.
The problem with Hedges' work is that TikTok did not exist at the time. Go figure. As we know, TikTok gives birth to many subcultures, which leads us to today's prominently or infamously known e-boys and e-girls. E-girls and e-boys are often described as the categories of hip young people whose defining qualities are that they are hot and online. This may apply to a lot of other groups, but this one in particular is different. Traditional influencers make their lives seem really cool, whereas the clout of this group comes from their personas, or fursonas, depending on who we're talking about.
Oftentimes, these personas are closeted, hence why seeing one in the real world is somewhat rarer. You may look at some random girl in the mall, and unbeknownst to you, she's actually an e-girl with a following of 120,000 on TikTok. You know an e-girl or e-boy by what they do online, not what they wear to a friend hangout, at least generally. These personas, for the most part, are well hidden.
In short, e-girls and e-boys are what would happen if you shot a teenager through the internet and they came out the other side. Generally, the mass has negative feelings towards this group. E-girl is used as somewhat of a derogatory term, like a hipster was way back when.
It was TikTok that, when it launched in the US in the early fall of 2018, catapulted the followings of girls with pink hair and attitudes and angelic-faced boys who wore chains on their pants.
This ain't it, Chief. I'm not speaking well today.
Comedic.
I can definitely not mess up comedic. It would almost be comedic if I messed up comedic.
My boy is going insane.
What do you mean going insane? I am insanity. Insane? I was insane once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room with a rat. The rat made me crazy, so I killed it. So, This ain't it, Chief, is a comedic phrase commonly used on social media as a means of signaling one's foolishness. It is used as a means of conveying that someone's idea or joke or whatever is a wrong or idiotic, but in a more kind-hearted way.
It is also used as a means of conveying that they overhyped their message, or it's not as cool as they think. It's commonly used on forums. As far as we're aware, the phrase was only used on Twitter once before 2014 and picked up traction after another user used it in 2017.
You know, it also could be them talking to, an actual sergeant in the military.
That is true. That actually is a good point.
A chief master sergeant?
Oh.
Or
I
chief
forgot
of
those
police,
exist.
or
But,
the fire chief.
but I feel like that would be a little bit... And I feel like that line or that particular sentence would be a little bit undisclosed.
Dude,
No, not undisclosed.
that's right. They use. Actually, no. When you're addressing, I'll tell you later.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I can see what you mean. It could derive from a little bit more of a more literal meaning, but at the same time, that sentence may not leak out to the outside world. So that is a possibility of where it originates, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
I very much suspect that it actually has veteran origins. It comes from veterans.
Or maybe that's coincidence. It could just be a coincidence, but that is a possibility.
Anyway. A good example of this slang is used when your partner/friend presents an idea that works, but you realize it only works in a vacuum. So you respond with, "This ain't it, Chief." The exact words I said to Glitchbug.
Yep, totally. The exact words he said. Yeah, this is totally not a bit. These are the exact words that he said when I presented this project. Totally the exact
And
words.
yet
Yep.
Here I am. I'm baby is a phrase that originated from the meme that has since gained popularity in terms of slang. It is used to describe one as childish, which Glitch is.
Yep, totally redo.
Or in need of care or protection, someone should say, "I'm baby. I just want to be cuddled and eat snacks all day." Or, "I'm baby. I can't handle adulting right now."
You're gonna need to...
I agree with that last statement, but the rest literally describe Glitch's life.
Okay.
You! You're keeping that last bit in.
Like Alter said, the phrase originates from a meme. More specifically, an auto-corrected message from a mother to her daughter in a distressing situation. On March 2nd, 2017, a report went out that a California teenager who texted her mother during a home invasion received a response that read, "I'm baby, call 911." This was most likely the result of a typo, and the mother originally tried to write, "I'm busy," but there's no real way to confirm this. But it is the most likely outcome.
The phrase has been used in humorous posts on a variety of websites, destroying the connection to the original post, forever incarcerating it and making it the meme we know for it. Right.
We know it for.
It is used for things like endearment and desire for comfort.
Thank you, Alter Hunter, for joining me today. Once again, this will be the final episode of the In Touch project. If you wish to keep tabs with my future endeavors, make sure to join my Discord server. The links will be in the description.
Alright, I'm off to go play Planet Pinball in Continuity 2. See ya.
Alright, later. Bye.